Hello, my name is Cortina Jackson, and it's been a little while since I've made a video to speak to the different people about some things that we're facing that I hope will bring encouragement to you. As most people know, I lived in a very dark place in my life through abuse and domestic violence and deep depression. And I'm very happy you would know that to see me today, because I found Jesus Christ in my life. And a little over a year ago, I found the 3 keys that have really made me very successful and happy in my life. And that is gratitude, positivity, and a love for others. And with those three keys, I have become just a totally new person, and I'm able to embrace life and really enjoy the things that life has to offer. And so I hope I'm an encouragement to those who are still in the situation. We're going through a trying time in our world, and the sad part about it is a lot of people that are going through abuse, that live in domestic violence, they are now home with their abusers with no place to go. And this is very important as I discuss this, and again, I'll be very brief so that I don't take up too much of your time. About a couple of years back in my marriage, as I said, I was going through domestic violence, and I was a police officer. I always wanted to be a police officer to become a homicide detective. And during the academy was my worst time because I was trying to do something for me. And I was married to a person who was not at all in support of me being empowered. And so during this time, he scratched my neck. I've told this numerous times. He scratched my neck during a pivotal time in the academy, but ultimately I was able to finish the academy anyway and become a police officer. Subsequently, he was fired from his department. And I just wanted to tell those that wonder why people stay. During that time, I protected his image. I called his department. I told them, please, it wasn't his fault. It's okay. It's no problem. I did that because I knew if they fired him, he would be at home full time with me. And that's exactly what happened. His department did fire him, and my biggest fears came true, that now I would be at home with a very angry spouse. After he was fired, he worked very hard and now getting me to leave my department, which I thought was very scary too, because I was going to work every day and could get a break from him. But I knew that if I left the department, both of us would be home. He encouraged me very strongly to leave my department. I lost my dream job and was taken away, and we were at home together. A very tense situation, a very scary situation in which I walked on eggshells. Later on in life, we waited for my children to graduate, and he told me things would get better. Now that the kids were out of the house, things would get better. And he moved me to Houston, Texas, where I didn't have my police career anymore, and I was away from friends and family. So again, I was in a situation where I was walking on eggshells so that he wouldn't be angry, because I was living at home and with him, and it was tense. During that time, when I didn't have my police career anymore and I was at home, I began to write a book. I began to write a story about a girl who was going through turmoil and abuse and just hell on earth. And I didn't know why I was writing the story. I got writer's block. I didn't understand how to push the story forward. But it would be about a couple of years later, that I experienced a spiritual death. Through all of the things that had happened to me, all the abuse, all through the years, caused me to have a spiritual death. And also, there was almost a physical death as he tried to kill me. During both times, as I was experiencing both things and writing this book, I began to have dreams. I was able to escape near death. And when I did, about a month after leaving that relationship, I began to have dreams of hell, actual hell. I went to hell. I saw the demons. I saw exactly what it looked like, but I didn't think I would be believed. And later on, I will tell my story of hell, because I think it's important for people to know the reason I wrote On Earth as It Is in Hell. The things that I describe are actually things that I saw, but I decided to write it fiction because, again, I didn't think anybody would believe me. I didn't want to be ridiculed. I didn't want people to say, how do you know hell is real, and get into a spiritual debate. I am not a debater. I do not like to debate about stuff. So I thought by writing it fiction, if anybody confronted me, I would say, oh, it's fiction. So whether you believe it or not, or whether I believe it or not, it's fiction. It's just a story. And I thought I could hide behind that. But I knew that the story was very real and there were relatable things in there. So, yes, that is the reason behind that story. And it was actually the story I was working on when my ex-husband tried to kill me. I was able to hold on to that story. It was the one thing that, of all the things I grabbed to bring with me to my new life, that was the one thing I protected. And I'm so happy that I was able to publish that. But I just wanted to stop and encourage those who are still going through, who are still in this. And right now, the police services, they're overwhelmed. There's a lot going on. That we're going through a coronavirus, so there's a lot of fear and anxiety that's happening right now. And so a lot of those things that that we need, the services we need, are kind of taking a kind of a back burner to some important issues that we have. So understanding, as a police officer, I do understand the that what goes along with that, but also encourage those who pray to please pray for those women, men, and children who are at home with an abuser, because this is a critical moment. As I said before, anxiety is high, fear. One thing that feeds evil is fear and anxiety. A lot of times, things in our world are stirred up based on fear. If they can get people in large amounts, in the masses, to have a fear of something, it feeds the evil. It gives it power. When you have a dominant figure in the household and there is a person who is in fear, it feeds or gives power to the dominant personality. And so in walking in fear, there is walking on eggshells just to keep peace in the house, because there's no place to go. So I encourage those who are still in this to be encouraged. Stay positive. The one thing that helped me to get out of the depression and out of the things that I was feeling was positivity. No matter what I was going through, I always said I could make it. One day I'm going to make it. One day I'm going to make it. I always said that, even in my abuse. One day I'm going to get out of here and I'm going to make something of myself. I used to tell my sons that all the time, whether I believed it or not. I always said, your mama's going to make it one day. We're going to make it. And when I learned how to be positive about things, oh my goodness, the seeds that I planted of positivity manifested. Once I understood who I was and whose I was, and that's in God, then I could realize my worth, and thank God I'm out of that situation where I can really experience all the things that were entitled to me, that God already had for me. He had already set aside for me. I now realize too that God was always there. We sometimes blame God and say, why did you let bad things happen to me? Why did you let this happen? I'm writing a book now. You'll understand. I have gone through everything. And, back then I would say, God, why'd you let this happen to me? I was angry with him. I would yell at God, why did you let this happen to me? And I realized God was always there. I wasn't. I let fear separate me. I let my sins separate me from him. He was there. His arms were outstretched and he was willing and ready to help me and heal me. But I pushed that to the side because I blamed God, and he was never the factor. So for those going through this, stay encouraged. Remember, it's very important to have positivity. Never say anything negative. I don't care if it's a very negative situation. Always say something positive. Be grateful for everything. Even if you're sick in your body, even if things aren't going well, always have gratitude. I'm thankful for another day because it's another day, a step closer to my destiny, to my purpose. Every day, be grateful for something. And then you begin to have harmony because you realize, as I have realized, this journey was not about me. I can sit here and feel sorry for myself, but this journey was not for me and not about me. God is using the things that I went through to help others and to gratify, just to pour appreciation into other people and let other people know you can make it too. You can. Believe me, you can make it. I went through turmoil and you can make it. I now get to act. I'm writing 2 more books, so there'll be 4 books that I have out. A motivational speaker and so much more. And I'm just always blessed. And the best part about it is because a year ago when I said, God, I give you my entire life. I give you my entire life. If you help me to bless other people, I'll do whatever you want me to do. And because of that, I have an assurance of going to heaven. I have an assurance. So no matter what happens, no matter what I see, how bad things look around me, I'm always happy and grateful because I know that my life may be taken. We are all appointed to die. That's assurance. But to know that one day I get to go to glory and spend the rest of my life in heaven, sign me up. So I love you all. I encourage you. I love you. And when I say that, I mean it. When I tell you I appreciate you, I mean it. When I tell you you are wonderful, I mean it. You all have a wonderful day. Stay encouraged. Pray, pray, pray for our world. It's in trouble, but we are winners. God is still on the throne and he's still working miracles. He never left us. He never left us. Love you, and we'll see you next time.